Welcome to the ABCs of Horses, a Big Blend radio podcast featuring Christy Wood, a world champion horse trainer, a carded horse show judge, an equestrian expert, and an author. So welcome, everyone. You know, once a year we get to do a special episode of the ABCs of Horses with Christy Wood. This special episode is when she comes back from the Chief Joseph Trail Ride. This is a 13-year progressive trail ride that lasts about 10 days, and it loosely follows the path that Chief Joe and the Nez Perce tribe used to flee from the cavalry. And so she's been doing this now. This is her second run of this. So, I mean, that's 13 years plus now she's on the second lap of this trail ride. So it's exciting to hear about where they were this year, because it's normally in July every year. And there's also some changes. You know, this was all through the Appaloosa Horse Club, and now it is its own nonprofit entity, because this is such a special thing. This, event, which is extraordinary, now open to obviously Appaloosa horses. She's going to talk about that, is, part of the heritage, but how it's changed up a little bit. So, Christy, welcome back home. How are you?
Well, thank you. It's nice to be back home and actually sitting down on something that isn't moving.
That's funny. I know you're either on a horse or, in the car getting there, or the truck.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a long trek. Before we get into this, so everyone, ChiefJosephTrailRide.org is a new website for this, which is exciting. But before we get into it, I know that it's now its own nonprofit, which is exciting, but you want to give everyone an overview of this trail ride, because it's been going for a while, right?
Yes, this trail ride started, it's sponsored by the Appaloosa Horse Club, and it still is. There are our partners, let's say, for this ride. It started in 1965 with a group of men that wanted to go ahead and honor Chief Joseph and his dedication to the Appaloosa horse. And it's just a beautiful ride. It's actually now been given its own designation as a historic trail. So it is the historic Nez Perce Trail, and it is 1,300 miles, and it starts in Joseph, Oregon, and goes up through Grangeville, Idaho, and down through past, lower below Missoula, down towards Dillon and Spencer, Montana, and Idaho, and then over to Yellowstone. And then it goes due north once we get into Cody, and goes up through Billings and Laurel up to Chinook, Montana, where the Nez Perce had to surrender 40 miles below the Canadian border. They were trying to find sanctuary to live in freedom instead of living under white man's rule. Chief Joseph was given an ultimatum to move on to the reservation, and he said, "I'd rather live in freedom than live under anybody else controlling us." So he packed up 2,000 horses and 900 people and eluded the cavalry for 1,300 miles. Now, what we do in 13 years, because we ride 100 miles every year, a different 100-mile segment, it's a progressive ride. We move camp every night. But what we do in 13 years, the Nez Perce did in 3.5 months. And so now they started in June, around June 17th, and they finally surrendered. Chief Joseph finally surrendered, I think it was October 5th, realizing that his people were without blankets, without food. They had lost some of their horses and definitely their elders along the way. And he felt that it was the best thing to do to preserve the Nez Perce was to surrender.
It's, and now today, doesn't some of his descendants actually connect with this trail ride and actually sometimes ride with you or be part of the different events? Like in the evenings, I know, you have wonderful, I've been following you guys too. Apparently good food happens on the trail when you get to camp, but there's also programs that happen like at the beginning, the ending, and things like that, right?
Yes, that's correct. We do have descendants of Chief Joseph that ride with us. It's a ride of healing for this family and for this tribe. We have special speakers that come from the tribe and tell us the history. We will have historians from the area tell us the history of the land of that particular segment of the trail. We'll have landowners whose great-great-grandfather met Chief Joseph when they crossed their land. And then, of course, park rangers, multiple wonderful historians that come in and really speak to us about the trail.
So I love this. It's American Adventures Month, celebrating all the Americas, North America, South America, Mexico, all of it. And I would think that this is really an American adventure now, but it wasn't an adventure when it was, originally happened for Chief Joe's and the Nez Perce. Today, the adventure is really about going out there, seeing the beauty of the land, but then also really getting to understand our history, which I think is very important, that we understand, the history of our country. And sometimes it's not so pleasant, but if we can honor those who struggled through our history, that's a good thing.
Our forefathers, whether you're Nez Perce or you're, a white man or whatever you want to say, all of our forefathers struggled for our benefit. I mean, it was for their benefit as well at that time, but we can benefit from this as well. And that's why we need to keep history alive. We need to see the struggle, the fortitude, and the hope that everybody had for a better life by doing this, by settling the West, and hopefully trying to get along with your neighbors and with the other indigenous people that were already there, which is sort of a tragedy sometimes that it didn't quite work out. But that's what we learn from history. We learn not to repeat the negative part and to enjoy together and sharing this land. And that's what the Native Americans were all about, was sharing Mother Earth and the gifts that were given to them. So it's a beautiful ride. The trail just really captivates you. And that's why I wrote the book, Lisa. And I know you're going to help me promote the book and let people know about it. But if you really want to read about the Nez Perce trail, the historic trail, I have published a book called Hoofprints Across Time, A Trail Ride to Remember. And it's my memoirs of riding the entire 1,300 miles, all on the same wonderful horse named Dollar. And I published that book a year ago. And it'll help people understand the land and the trail and the spirit of this trail, but also helps you plan. We want you to come along and even camp with us. Even if you don't ride a horse, you can come along and camp and just enjoy the people and the land. And the book will help you prepare for all of that.
And I just think, it's a way for those of us who may not be on horseback doing this with you to actually have, that bit of journey and understanding. So it's like you're taking the ride to someone, if they can't do it anywhere in the world. And I am going to say this is important. It is National Book Lovers Day. So if you love books, get it. So it's Hoofprints Across Time, A Trail Ride to Remember. Of course, you can get it on all those online places. We all know who they are. Or you can go right to Christy's website, which is wdnhorse.com. And you can get that right online through her directly, which authors really do enjoy doing because there's a connection there. But so where were you where was the trail ride this time? Where were you guys? And what year are we on for this next round?
So we're now on the 5th rotation of this ride. My book is all about the 4th rotation because I completed that. And when I finished the 4th rotation, I love the people and love the history and the land and the ride so much that I'm going back and I'm doing it all over again. So I'm doing it on a half brother to the mare that I rode the first 1,300 miles on. And we are on year 7 out of 13. So the ride this year, we finished last year at the Big Hole Battlefield, which is up near Wisdom, Montana. And we started this year in Jackson, Montana, and ended up crossing that beautiful mountain range, going up on the Continental Divide and dropping down into Lador, Idaho. That's where the ride ended this year. But being up on the Continental Divide is just breathtaking, up at 9,600 feet to look down and just... It's almost like God looking down from heaven and looking at earth. You're up there so high and beautiful, and the scenery is amazing. And what's special about that is if you're going down the dense trail, dense with trees, you can actually stretch out your arms and touch Montana on one side and Idaho on the other. It is just amazing.
Wow.
And then you're up there on this trail this trail's been there, I think, for almost 150 years, and we still have markers up there of people that created the Continental Divide and hiked this trail and packed this trail and rode this trail. And there are still plenty of markers up there from that long ago that you can see.
Wow. So again, more history, as you keep going on this trail. So a beautiful time. Now, what were some of the activities like? Because you're riding all day, right? And then you set up camp, and and you have people that help with the setting up of camp, right? So you're
right,
or do you?
Right.
Yeah.
No, so what happens is when you ride out on your horse, if you have a horse and you lease a horse or have your own, when you leave camp and ride out with 85 other riders, that's how many horses we had this year. Then the camp starts to tear down. The camp crew will tear down the grills and the tents and the portable kitchen that they have, wrap it all up, put it into vans, And the rest of us that are still left in camp, the drivers will pack up everything that they have, like buckets and high ties for the horses, or the tie line where the picket line where the horses are kept. The porta potties are gathered and the big water tubs are gathered. Everything is moved to the next camp. And that camp could be as the crow flies, let's say 25, 30 miles away, but you have to drive back down the mountain again, get back onto the highway, find another dirt road that brings you back up to camp and get you back up on top of that mountain. So that camp is reset up. So it's set up usually by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And when the riders come in about 3 or 4, then camp is already set up. The grills are turned on and they provide us with fantastic food. Our camp crew and kitchen crew is just fabulous. So there's a shout out to Norman, who is our head chef, and Andy Shaw, who is our ride manager, and Irving Gross, who manages parking everybody, and all the guys like AJ and Jeremiah and all the fellas that help move the hay. There's just an amazing, it's like watching, I guess, an opera. It is so smooth how everything comes together and everything is in its place. They take out a portable dance floor, a wooden dance floor, set that up every night, because that is really the focus of the center of every evening. That's where the guest speakers will stand. We actually have a music man named Marcos Minkinis, who follows us and plays music for us. But that's where we do our silent auctions, our live auctions, our guest speakers, and then dancing is a great way. We have a lot of mixers and line dancing. Great way people have fun and get to know each other.
My gosh, it sounds like, you've got to be exhausted by the time you get back. Back home, because you're riding all day, you're partying at night, you're listening to speakers, you're dancing, you're eating good food. When you hit the hay, literally, right, on the trail, I bet you there's deep snoring going all over the camp.
Well, I wouldn't know, because we're all sound asleep. We're all so exhausted. But you know what? It's really great. You come back, take care of your horse. That's the first thing you do, is make sure that horse has water, is unsaddled, it's brushed, it's cleaned up. There's hay in front of him. The horse needs to relax. You have about an hour or so, maybe before dinner, and you can relax a little bit. And then you go, and the food is phenomenal. I'm going to tell you, the best way to recap the food is to say it's like a cruise on horseback. We are treated to some fabulous gourmet food, and the guys just do a really great job with that. And then the speakers are just invigorating to listen to the land and the history. But I tell you what, when Marcos starts to play his music, you may think you're tired, but my foot starts tapping, and I have to get up and get on that dance floor.
I love it.
How many people get an opportunity to dance underneath the stars up on the Continental Divide, in Montana, where there's no civilization except the Gone camp that you've created. It's just wonderful. Really great people.
That's amazing. So now it is its own nonprofit now. So it's changed up a little structure from the first time we started talking about the Chief Joe, which was, I don't know how many years ago, Christy, but we've been covering it every year for a long time. And now it's its own entity, and some of the rules have changed in regards to, I remember you had to have an Appaloosa, and that's it. Now that's changed up. So tell us about that. So people can go to chiefjosephtrailride.org. So it's exciting to have its own, organization.
Right. And we needed to do that to help preserve this trail ride. It needed a boost of fundraising and different things, and that's working out really well. You can go to that website and donate if you have an investment in history and education for this type of a trail ride. It's just really supporting it and making it stronger. And then we have opened it up to 30 non-Appaloosa horses, because we really wanted to introduce more people to this ride, and not everybody owns an Appaloosa. Like I said, if you don't own one, you can certainly lease one. There are people that lease horses. You can come and camp with us, but there are many family members that might have 5 or 6 family members, and 2 or 3 of them ride an Appaloosa, and then the other family members ride other breeds. And so that's why we wanted to open it up, to get more families, to strengthen the family bonds, and they can come and ride as well. So we don't have any restrictions on any other equine. And I said equine because we do allow mules. We will allow POA ponies, the Appaloosa ponies, but we do have some restrictions, obviously shorter ponies like Welsh ponies, and larger horses with any draft cross, unfortunately, cannot come on the ride, mainly because on the draft horse end, our horse ambulance isn't big enough if we have to go rescue somebody or help a horse get off that's not doing well. But all the other breeds and equines are welcome to come and enjoy this history and meet the people and meet the land. And it's really been wonderful.
That's cool. I mean, it's great to see this grow. Do you see like groups? It sounds like you had quite a few people this year. Do you see? Can someone just join up, or do you have to start at the first leg of the third years?
No. You can come in anytime you want. So we do give awards away for people that have accumulated 5 years on the ride, and then 10 years, and then 13 years. And you may not get them all consecutively. That's just the way that I sort of do things, as I started at the beginning in 2004 and finished in 2016 and went straight through with the 13 years. And then I had the other objective for that was riding my registered Appaloosa. When my horse did 10 consecutive years, she actually won a medallion. And then at the third horse, and when the horse completes 13 years, the horse gets an award as well. So there are some incentive for doing them over years, but you can do it anytime, and you may have to skip a year. That's perfectly all right. You actually get credit for being on the ride yourself, even if you're a driver and you're driving for somebody else and helping them to move their rig and not necessarily being on horseback. So coming and camping with us, you get credit for being on the ride, and it's just it's a great way. Matter of fact, there was a couple that bought my book last year 2 years ago, that bought my book and came out from Wisconsin because they read the book. They came out to see how the ride was handled, how we moved camp, observed how people took care of their horses. And then the following year, they came back with their horses. So they wanted to be prepared. See how everything. Yeah.
You can take that, book lovers. How's that? The power of the pen.
That's right.
I love that. Well, what a great story. I mean, because you go that's a smart thing to do too, is to go see how it's done so that you don't do it cold. I like that. That's smart.
It's a great idea. And I've hired some different drivers in the past, and it seems like every time I hire a new driver, they love it so much they go out and buy an Appaloosa, and the next year they're riding. So I have to keep looking for drivers. But I've got that.
Yeah. So any people, I mean, because it sounds like you could go with your family could do it, like a group of friends could do it as kind of like an adventure together.
Yeah, you can even share a horse. If you have one horse, then two people could go, and one person rides one day, the other person rides the next day, and whoever isn't riding is going to be the driver to move the rig to the next camp. There's so many different ways to make this work, and that's all in the book.
So the other thing too is any tips for those thinking of doing this to be prepared for next year? If they're thinking of this and now they're going, you know what, I'm going to really look at doing this next. What should they start looking at now? Because if they need to do any special training with their horse, this would be the opportune times to not wait like a week before the trail ride, right?
Oh my gosh. Nancy, the number one thing I can tell anybody and everybody to help them prepare for this is you truly need to plan this a year in advance. You need to block out the third week of July automatically with either family, with your job. You cannot wait till the last minute to get this done because life's going to get in the way. You're going to have things that are going to try to take you away from this, and you have to pre-plan. You let your family know, your job know. You need to plan a year in advance. And then just, if you're an equestrian, then you understand how important it is for you to be fit and your horse to be fit at least 2 to 3 months out to start getting ready for a lot of mountain climbing, crossing water, crossing bridges, riding in. Now you can't really simulate riding with 100 other riders. It's kind of tough to get all your 100 friends together at one time, but your horse needs to be comfortable in crowds and knowing how they're going to eat and how you're going to take care of them. So all of that is in the book. That really would help people. But honestly, the most important thing is pre-planning. And I've always told people, I laugh about this because I'm also a horse show judge, and I get booked to judge horse shows a year in advance. That answer to that is the Queen of England could ask me to judge a horse show that third week of July, and I would tell her no. I mean, I'm that committed. I'm seriously committed to this ride, and my family knows it. My business knows it. Everybody who knows me knows that. And so that's my commitment. And it takes time to drive. For me, driving from California now to get back over to Montana, where the ride's going to be again next year, it almost takes me 3 days to get there because I won't travel more than 12 hours or 11 hours with my horse. I have to lay over, make sure that they're rested and I'm rested. And so you have to pre-plan how much time you're going to be gone. It's not just a week of riding with the trail ride. It's the preparation of getting there and also returning home.
Yeah, that's a good point. Real good point. I mean, honestly, think about it. It's an epic ride, and then get ready for your horse should be able to be on a trail ride, and be
Yep.
prepared for that and trained. So all
And with
that's
mountain
important.
riding, this isn't just a ride in the park and it isn't riding down a fire road. We're going to be sometimes off road. We're going to be up and down hills. Your horse needs to be fit. You need to be comfortable with that. Know your horse very, very well. Make sure your tack fits properly and all of that sort of thing. So just to listen, our listeners understand this, I'm on my 20th consecutive year this year.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And my goal is to get 26. I want to complete the ride a second time with Buckley, the horse, the buckskin gelding I'm riding now. And so those are my goals and my commitments, and
That's awesome.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
I love that. I love what you're doing because I think again you're spreading the knowledge of Chief Joe as well, and we're excited. We're going to be on our way to Oregon now, so next time I talk to you, we'll be in that area, at least in that in that region. Well, actually, we are going to drive through some of. I'm going to have to go look at a map. And that's the thing, too, is to look at the map and really take a look at where they were, the Nez Perce and Chief Joe. It's pretty incredible, like what you're saying, how fast they, did that. But Christy, I'm always excited to hear how the trip went. And, so next year, next year, everybody be prepared for that and go check out the new website and you'll see, just how beautiful it is. Again, it's chiefjosephtrailride.org. Christy's book is Hoofprints Across Time, A Trail Ride to Remember, and you can keep up with her at wdnhorse.com. Next month, we'll be back to the alphabet. And are we on cue next month? Speaking of Queen, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, or questions. We need to hear from our listeners. Please send us questions, and
yes,
we'll make it kind of a potpourri next month of answering the questions that you want to send in. Let's just do that as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Christy, and happy trails to you.
Thank you, Lisa, and saddle up and come join me. Everyone, come join me. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's ABCs of Horses featuring Christy Wood. You can keep up with Christy and learn more about her services and her books by going to her website, wdnhorse.com. Keep up with Big Blend Radio at bigblendradio.com.